Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. In today's episode, I want to briefly talk about the benefits of weight training. I've been now weight training on and off probably since high school, and I've never gotten to the point that I've been able to do this steadily to really see the benefits until now, until this year, where I sort of decided to take time and focus on some goals. And I've given myself the time really to go to the gym regularly, build a routine, build a habit. And it's amazing how beneficial weight training is, not just for the body, but for the mind, right? Obviously, it sort of instills a certain sense of discipline in terms of sticking to a regimen, working on certain body parts, improving the parts that are weak, and working towards whatever aesthetic goal that you may want to achieve, right? But the byproduct of working out for me and weight training for me has been just the mental benefit. I feel happier. I feel more clear headed. I feel less stressed. I feel less anxious. I notice this most when I'm driving back from the gym. I don't get that agitated on the road. If I'm going to miss a light, I'm pretty calm. If somebody decides to cut me off, it doesn't bother me as much. All the things that we usually get irked by or annoyed by, weight training seems to just alleviate that. I think because you're putting so much time and effort and focus into the exercise when you're in the gym, you're trying to lift a heavy load, you're trying to push against a significant amount of force and resistance, that kind of puts you in a space where you're like, I don't really care what happens. I'm just glad to get through this workout. I feel like I've accomplished something. I'm going to go home and just do what I need to do. Right. So I really, am amazed at the mental benefits. And research is now pouring in terms of, all the different, fitness people and experts and doctors and PhDs talking about this, that there's such a significant benefit from a mental health perspective for weight training. It's not just body oriented. I mean, that also has a big mental aspect. If you like how you look and you're feeling good about that, that definitely contributes to your mental state. But more than anything, even just from a chemical perspective, from a serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, hormonal perspective, the benefits are immense, right? The other aspect that I'm also cognizant of is just aging, right? As we get older, obviously our body starts weakening in certain aspects, but so much of the information that seems to be coming in from a medical perspective is that the type of aging that we experience physically, the atrophying of muscles, the losing, losing strength, and the lack of that kind of agility that we have when we're young, a lot of it comes to the fact that it is just that we are not utilizing our muscles, and we are not using what our body is doing what our body is capable of, essentially, right? And I really see this, sadly enough, in front of my eyes with my grandmother. She's now getting to her mid 80s. I believe she might actually be 85, 84 right now. I'm not exactly sure, but she, in her heyday, was a strong, persistent, persevering lady. She was very physical, very, very mobile. She unfortunately did have some accidents, some physical injuries that derailed her. Um, but I'm realizing that there's one aspect, especially in our culture, in South Asian culture, in my culture, I guess I should say, and I'm speaking maybe to some of the people who might be listening to this, that weight training in that sense of actually picking up weights and utilizing it more from that gym perspective, it's not normal, it's not typical, right? Most of the exercise that is common in our culture is predominantly to do with what their craft or their trade used to be. My grandma used to actually, maybe not farm in the classical sense, but she raised um, cattle and chickens, and she used to plant crops and stuff, do some gardening and that kind of thing. So everything that involved, physical manual labor in that sense, that, was helpful, that was there. But beyond that, as just time got, further along and you get older and we modernized, life became more modern. Um, there isn't that consistent force that's being applied to our body anymore. So with my grandma, I see that if there was a chance where in the past she could have incorporated some kind of weight training, I feel like she would be so much stronger in terms of her physical ability and her strength, right? And the good thing is my mom is now obviously seeing what she's seeing and being in a position where she can actually make certain decisions. She's able to incorporate weight training. She's now starting. She's truthfully starting weight training in her 60s. Um, but I think it's never too late, which is great because I think there's a point where you can start with manageable weights. You don't have to go extreme and heavy right away. But there is a lot of benefit to adding load little by little and increasing your strength, because the research seems to also show that some of the age related injuries that we go through, whether when we break bones, we fall down, and all those kinds of issues, a lot of that comes to do with lack of musculature and strength, and the muscle actually strengthens your bones as well. So working out not only helps your muscles, it helps your bones. So there's just ultimately a lot of benefits, physical and mental, that I feel like, one stands to gain from doing weight training. And I can tell you from my experience, it was not something that I was initially in love with. I've worked out with my brother. My brother tends to work out kind of intense. Um, I did it. It was great, but it was not something where I loved it. And I was like, I want to keep doing this. I want to keep coming back to this. I think each person finds a different way of engaging with it. Some people right off the bat, right from the get-go, absolutely love it. They are, gym rats. I'm definitely not one of those people. But for me, I think I take a pragmatic approach to seeing what is good for me, what is helping me be better in terms of mental state, physical state, and it is undeniable how beneficial weightlifting is. If you're listening to this episode and are finding it useful, engaging, informative, and helpful in any way, please consider following the podcast on Spotify. And if you're more of a YouTube user, please subscribe, like and share, and drop a comment if you had any thoughts or questions. If you haven't gotten into a regimen, if you're just not a gym body, I would say, even at home, right? You don't have to go to the gym. Just get some weights, small weights, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, 25 pounds. I bought a small set of weights right during the pandemic that I used very little, I'll be honest, but it was still good for me to have that I can just use and just do a few exercises in here and there that helped keep my body, activated. But I would just say either go with people that go to the gym, that might help you kind of step into that world, or even by your own, just go do a trial. You can get trial memberships. I think a lot of gyms give either like first entry trial or potentially even a week trial, and just try it out. Just try it out a little bit, see what it feels like, see what the benefits are for you. And I honestly feel like I'm confident saying this, you won't regret it. And of course, one thing to be mindful about always is do what you feel is sensible for you and your body, right? If weight training is something that you've never done, be careful, be patient. And again, I'll add this disclaimer as always, anything to do with your physical health, anything to do with your health period, physical, mental, whatever, take the safe approach, right? Do your research. There's so much information on YouTube and online. Talk to your doctors, your physicians, your chiros, massage therapists, anybody and everybody that has something to do with helping you maintain your health. can give you some input and guidance in this. For me, interestingly enough, a lot of my workouts now have molded and adapted according to the needs that I'm having. Right. Initially, it's just about working out and trying to maybe look good and feel good. But then just having gone to Cairo and massage therapy and understanding where my weak points are in my body and noticing certain issues while I'm working out, right? There are certain areas or certain muscles that feel a bit more fatigued, or there's a slight twinge or pain. And that's an indication where there are parts of your body that there are imbalances that you need to work on, right? So that's something that you can immensely benefit from talking to people and experts, that can guide you about, maybe you want to incorporate this exercise, maybe you want to do those variations, right? And so 100% take the safe, sensible approach, do what's best for you, and take it at a pace that's sensible. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about on this episode. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.